Hey everyone, it's Jack and Ross from Cultaholic.com, and it's time for more news following the Superstar Shakeup, Ross.
Very cultured the way you said that.
What did I say?
It's time for more news on the Superstar Shakeup.
Well, there's some classy wrestling news to talk about. Yeah, we got some news on the Superstar Shakeup, various other bits and pieces as well, so let's waste no further time and let's take a look at the headlines. First of all, another WWE Superstar has announced their departure from the company. Secondly, we take a look at all the moves to SmackDown in the Superstar Shakeup, including those that were announced quietly on the website after the show. And finally, Dave Meltzer has another reason why Sasha Banks is reportedly unhappy backstage. So first of all, another WWE Superstar has announced their release from the company, or has announced their impending departure, it's probably more accurate to say. That's hot on the heels of Luke Harper doing the same.
Emotional.
Yeah, everyone loves a bit of
What
Luke.
a waste.
Yeah, I know. He should have been fantastic.
They just seem to get injured every single time, didn't he? When something was going well, an injury would happen.
Yeah.
Ended.
Sad. This is another person who you could argue was, had a lot of promise and was then kind of maybe wasted by the booking, and it's Alexander Wolf from Sanity. He put up a tweet saying thank you at Killian Dane, at Nikki Cross, at Eric Young, so like his three stablemates in Sanity. And interestingly as well, used the hashtag RIP Sanity, and with Eric Young going over to Raw as well, it looks like the stable's well and truly.
Killian Dane put something on Instagram confirming they've disbanded officially. It's all over. It's come to an end without it really beginning.
Right.
They went to SmackDown Live, but then they weren't used at all.
So, yeah, after being full of promise on NXT, it sort of seemed all to go apart a little bit once they moved to the main roster. So now with Eric Young on Raw, Wolf leaving the company, Nikki Cross in the women's division as a singles star, what does that leave for Killian Dane?
I want to see him against Volta in NXT UK.
Yeah, that's
might as well.
Hell of a match, yeah. That'll be really good. Also, in Alexander Wolf's tweet, he listed various accomplishments with Sanity, including NXT Tag Team Champions, NXT Tag Team of the Year, and the fact that they competed in the first NXT War Games match, and he seemed really grateful, to be fair. He thanked his stablemates, the entire SmackDown locker room, and also the fans, and said it's time to leave this behind and walk a different path. Now, recently, he did appear in WXW, which was his promotion prior to joining WWE, but that didn't seem to ring too many alarm bells at the time because they're affiliated with WWE now. He could potentially go back there, though.
Yeah.
I don't really know what, because it seemed as though he got like a big reception when he turned up as well, like a return.
So is this officially him saying I've left the company, or is this him going like I'm leaving the main roster, I'm leaving SmackDown Live?
To me, it reads more like he's just leaving the company.
Because it would seem a bit weird, wouldn't it? Just get leave completely.
Yeah.
Then again, it might not be. But that WXW thing, it would make more sense for him to be utilised there, surely. Because the rumours are still continuing. There's going to be a performance centre over there next, isn't there?
Like NXT Europe or Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were mentioning off camera that you could see him potentially going to NXT UK.
He's got history with Volta. I just keep mentioning Volta.
Yeah, fair enough. But either against him or joining up with him. It just seems like another case of like someone who, to be fair, I was never like particularly a big fan. I mean, I liked him, but I was never like, ooh, Alexander Wolf, what's he going to do next?
But he fit that role perfectly for Sanity. Him and Dane, and Young especially. Well, Young's little mouth when he used to get in the ring, going like the clappers, just fit the role so perfectly.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why, when they saw what they could do in NXT, they just brought them up with no real plan. They lost a few matches off the bat, and then that was it. It
seems to be a common theme that sort of reoccurs now. Like the big one at the minute for me is EC3, who's a really funny and entertaining promo, especially as a heel.
They even teased Drake Maverick getting back with him last week on a dark match on SmackDown.
And they just didn't.
Yeah, just didn't do it this week. Just killed him instead.
There's definitely a disconnect between NXT and WWE. I saw a comment on Reddit recently that was like, does Vince realise that he also owns NXT?
You wouldn't think so. I don't get it, because we get this narrative time and time again that NXT is the third brand. It's on the same level as Raw and SmackDown, but you see the bloody Viking experience happen and it just proves it wrong, doesn't it?
Oh,
it still is very much developmental.
Bless them. Yes, yeah, it very much is. And often it seems like it's done with very little. It almost seems like certain people on the main roster are paying little attention to NXT. Triple H must be bashing his head in.
Yeah. It's almost like, I don't know if, this is my really cynical brain working. You know, Vince is a very petty man. And NXT is having great success.
Ah, no.
Doing it to spite himself.
No. Look what I can do, Hunter. Yeah, so it'll be a shame to see Alexander Wolf leave if he is leaving the whole WWE organisation, but wherever he pops up next, we do hope that he, makes the best for himself. Be nice to see. Next up, there were various moves to SmackDown during the second half of the Superstar Shakeup last night, but also some ones that were kind of quietly announced on WWE.com, some of which sort of imply that various tag teams and groups have been broken up as a result. So we'll just rattle through the ones that were on screen in case you missed SmackDown. Roman Reigns, Finn Balor with the IC title.
That means both championships are on SmackDown now, but apparently when they had to rewrite Raw, like because of travel issues or something, Samoa Joe's segment on Raw, a potential one's one of the ones that was cut. So we're guessing next week he'll be there with the US title.
Yeah. Elias, the biggest acquisition in SmackDown history.
No, I've not seen this yet, but that sounds like a weird thing to say.
So it was announced that it was the biggest acquisition in SmackDown history, and then everyone was expecting it to be, most people were saying it'll be Roman.
Or Lesnar. Or Conor McGregor.
Or Rob Gronkowski, some people were saying as well. But it did turn out, it was Roman, but it wasn't. So in kayfabe, Vince fully believed that this was Elias. He came out to announce Elias. Then Elias was cut off by Roman. And watching it at first, I thought this is just a big prank by Vince. He's going to go, here's the real biggest acquisition, Roman Reigns. But
the Big Show.
Yeah. But I thought he was going to be like, I'm only joking, it wasn't Elias, it was Roman. But he was annoyed at Roman for cutting off Elias.
So is this a case of Vince McMahon? Because recently he said a couple of things wrong.
No,
in terms of big matches. He knows what he's trying to say, but he said them wrong.
This seemed to be entirely according to the script. He was announcing Elias as the biggest acquisition ever, and then Reigns came out and proved himself to actually be the biggest acquisition ever. But in kayfabe terms, entirely in the script, Vince believed Elias to be the biggest acquisition.
Quite abrupt, that.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. It did just seem like it seemed like it was written in a vacuum with no thought to what the wider implications would be. It was just, the crowd will boo that, and then Roman will come out and get a pop. But it wasn't.
He's just a sacrificial lamb, no, Elias.
I know, he's getting cut off by him. Various members of the women's division too: Bayley, Ember Moon.
Bayley got booed.
Bayley got booed heavily.
What is wrong with Montreal? What have they got against Bayley? Did G screw Brett? That's the question I'm asking.
It's particularly weird for us because in the UK, Bayley's like the most over woman.
Will you be my girl? DJ Otzi.
What a tune. Ember Moon, Kairi Sane, who's now in a tag team with Asuka.
What's the connection there, Jack?
Both former NXT Women's Champions, Ross. Nothing to do with their nationality at all. And Buddy Murphy as well, up from 205 Live.
That's a shrewd signing.
Yes, I think he was. He said that like it's real. Well done, SmackDown. I think that was announced in a video form or so. He didn't actually turn up on the show like the others did. But now one of the quiet ones that were announced just on the website. So he did turn up on the show, but he's been turned up on Raw as well. But on the website it said Lars Sullivan is now SmackDown.
So on WWE.com there's an official list of all the superstars drafted to Raw that was published after this week's show, and Lars is on that one as well. So he's doing double duty.
Right, okay.
Apparently.
Chad Gable, so
good.
Presumably no Ruben Gable. Yeah.
It's about time that thing ended.
Chad's stint on Raw, I think, will be looked back upon as a weak point of his career, hopefully, if the rest of it's strong. Because on SmackDown, he was doing fine until they got rid of Jason.
He's got so much charisma, and he's got the wrestling. He's like 2001 Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Slightly prettier.
Apollo Crews, who I think will be a better fit on SmackDown, to be fair. Mickie James, who didn't come out in the big women's segment with all the women's wrestlers, but she is announced as a SmackDown superstar now. Heavy Machinery, both members, and also Liv Morgan, which surprised me a lot, actually. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it.
I don't want to live in as Renee Young said on this week's Raw, I don't want to live in a world where the Riot Squad aren't together.
Well, it seems like they've broken them up, which is weird, because I'm now wondering, will Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan continue to be a tag team? Especially with Sarah Logan she didn't win it, but getting quite a big solo push in the women's Battle Royal.
You looked at that Battle Royal and you would have thought she would be the one to be put off on her own, but no, it's Liv. Maybe Liv's going to get a big old pushing ton.
Maybe. Very strange. Also, I'm just thinking it's a shame because I like the Riot Squad as a trio. They definitely had chemistry and it seemed like a very real friendship.
They just didn't win enough.
Yeah,
they needed more wins. That's the only issue with them, wasn't it?
The big takeaway I've got from this is that, as I think it was Richard Tubman said upstairs, the Raw Women's division has just been absolutely gutted.
Yes.
A lot of their biggest stars have been taken away and put on SmackDown.
Yes.
Don't know what's going to happen. But it'll be interesting to see. I just feel as though, usually in these shakeups, because SmackDown's a shorter show, there's more going to Raw. But this time it seems pretty even.
Well, we're building towards a new 3-hour SmackDown, aren't we? In October.
Of course.
I still think there'll be another Superstar Shakeup before then, just, to get a few more big names over to the new show. But I guess that's what they're doing now, setting the foundations.
Fair enough. Next up, Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio has said that Sasha Banks and Bayley were upset about losing the titles. We knew that already. There was all these stories of them sitting on the locker room floor in protest and stuff. And stories that have all fed into this whole is Sasha Banks leaving kind of thing with her kind of strange behaviour on social media recently. But He said they were also upset. Another big factor was that they were told they were being split up, which is something that I don't think I've heard reported, really.
No.
Seems like an extra factor that would be quite crucial. That would probably upset them if they'd try to galvanise these women's titles and like make them a big deal, and then they were like, no, they're coming off you, and also you're being split up.
It seems weird that Bayley would try to ring Sasha then on air as part of a storyline if they were just going to be on separate shows.
Yeah, maybe. To be honest, I don't know what to even think with Sasha and Bayley anymore, because their storylines have often just been dropped halfway through or just mismanaged.
Or just been a massive mess.
Yeah, I do feel for them. I see both sides of it. Like, on one hand, they have, it seems from these stories, they have acted unprofessionally, but at the same time, they must be very frustrated.
I mean, if they've been given assurances like, you're going to be given these championships and you're going to be allowed to defend them everywhere, and it hasn't happened, I can see why they're pissed off. But then again, it's the wrestling business, isn't it?
I know, but
wins and losses, and
a huge thing as well is that they turn up on NXT and said we're even going to defend them here as well. And it just seemed to me like they were going to keep those belts for months.
Yeah, that's what I think's happened there. Like, they've been told one thing and then they've got to WrestleMania and plans have changed.
Meltzer says that Sasha is booked for the next pay-per-view, which I believe is Money in the Bank. And then he said, who knows if she'll show? Whoa!
I think she will, surely.
David, you can't be saying that. That's pretty wild accusation. I think she'll show up, but honestly, the way that it's all going, I wouldn't be surprised to see her signing with Cody in the near future.
You reckon?
It would be a game changer. That would be a big move.
Yeah.
That would be a huge signing for them.
Surely you would just throw more money at a Big Vince. He's got enough, hasn't he?
That's true. Maybe he would, because she's one of those wrestlers that no matter where she goes on the card, like we saw when she had that pay-per-view match against Ronda, the crowd are quick to get back behind her again, because she's just got that certain...
And you look at like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, you looked at her and Charlotte, who's going to be the biggest star, you would have said her all day long.
Yeah.
It's just weird how it's worked out.
Yeah, very strange. Very sad as well. But we'll see what happens. There's obviously no confirmation that she's on her way out yet. That's just pure speculation. And finally, just to end things, there was this is from WrestlingInc.com. I think it was Mark Middleton's article, but he was reporting via correspondent Travis Bledsoe, who I think's got a very similar name to an American sports star. I've heard that before. But anyway, apparently SmackDown's dark main event was really weird. So I'll just read out the report from Wrestling Inc. The dark main event after tonight's 205 live tapings, because of course that happens after SmackDown Live, in Montreal, saw Roman Reigns and Randy Orton go at it with no official winner being announced. So see what you think of this. The finish saw Orton hit the draping DDT and then missed the RKO. Reigns followed up with a Superman punch and a spear. Orton then rolled out of the ring and Reigns' music played as if he was the winner. So there's no pinfall, he just hit the spear.
Well, the cowardly heels ran away there from the big dog.
But it seems as though but wouldn't there be a count out?
Maybe.
And it doesn't.
Is it a proper match? Is it?
Well, apparently it says went at it.
If it's just a throwdown,
just
throwdown between the lads, and they'll get a beer afterwards.
Throwing hands.
Yeah.
Very odd if it was an official match and it just ended.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that there was an official no contest rule. I'm becoming quite a fan of Randy Orton these days.
Oh yeah.
I think he's hilarious.
He's good on the old Instagram.
Yeah.
Just doesn't care, does he? Middle-aged, doesn't care.
Seems like a really good dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing his babies onto a bed.
No, he knows what
it
he's
was
doing.
with some grace and panache.
Yeah, of course. And there was one recently of him, his daughter's learning to walk, and he's like...
Slithering.
That was the slithering away
like
from her.
Like a snake.
Like, you can do it.
As if he's a viper.
And she does as well. Fair play to his daughter for making it all the way across the room. Well done.
What's this news?
I'm trying to end the news segment. I don't know how.
The breaking news today is Randy Orton's daughter can walk. Yeah. Well done to her.
Well done. And good parenting as well from Randy and his wife. Great. Stay tuned for more next time.
Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. And if you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can play us to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Hit subscribe and join us.